Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got one of my favorite movies. Hopefully it's one of yours. And by the background behind me, I think you can see what it might be. And that is the very first Jaws from 1975, I think that's when it came out. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's 75. And this movie is one of my favorites. It kind of, well, when I first watched it for the very first time when I was younger, when I was little, I didn't think much of it, actually, the very first time I saw it, because, man, that makes me kind of dark. Look at that. Oh, well. When I first watched it when I was a kid, I kind of thought it was kind of slow and boring. And once it got to the end, when they were all out on the boat and all that, out in the middle of the water, that's when it got interesting for me. But over time, I grew to like the movie even more besides that. When I was a kid, I remember I'd just fast forward to the very end when they first went out on the boat, and started watching it from there. But I mean, I love the whole movie now. It stars Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw, and Roy Scheider. And from what I've been told from a lot of the older people, back when this movie came out, everyone after they saw it was scared to go swimming into the ocean. And for a long time, people were afraid to even get in the water. So it had a pretty big impact on people. And so, anyway, let's get into the review. If you're new, welcome. Please subscribe if you like my content and these reviews. And if you're not new, welcome back. And if you have not seen this movie, please go see it and then come back and watch this review, because I may have some spoilers here and there. So Jaws opens up with a very cool looking opening shot of the shark swimming through the ocean, and it's really cool. It's like a POV version of the shark, and he's just swimming through, and cuts to this little party that people are having out on the beach, this little beach party. And it's in the middle of the night, almost getting close to being sun up. And one thing, if you're not aware of this, for those of you who do like to swim in the ocean, let me give you some advice. I did some research on it, and it is not a good idea to swim in the ocean at night. Reason being is because sharks can see you from a very, very long ways away. I want to say over 1.5 miles, but I could be wrong on that. But I did some research on it, and it did say to never swim at night, because it's just not safe. So anyway, that's a little off topic for those viewers who do watch this review and are ocean swimmers. Anyway, so like I said, it opens up on a little beach party, And this girl and guy, her name is Chrissy. I have no clue what his name is. Um, she's wanting to go swimming, and she's wanting him to go with her. Of course, he's drunk as I don't know what. I mean, he's so drunk he can't even walk, and he ends up passing out on the beach, on the ground on the beach. Meanwhile, she goes into the water, and she's swimming around, and lo and behold, here comes the shark, and it gets her, drowns her, kills her, and she's dead. And so it opens up from there. It opens up to Roy Scheider's character. He's the sheriff of the town called Amity. It's an island, and it opens up to him and his wife and kids, and they're having just a little family thing. The son gets cut. Know how, but he did. He gets cut, and the mother's fixing him up, and Roy Scheider's character, Sheriff Brody, gets a phone call talking about the girl who got killed at the very beginning. So he has to go out and check it out, and he thinks the worst, well, actually he thinks what everybody should be thinking, and that is a shark. He doesn't really know for sure, but he's leaning towards it. He doesn't really know, but he knows that it's bad enough to keep people out of the water. So his idea is to close the beaches until it's, resolved, which is the smart thing to do. Now, introducing our lovely mayor character. All he has on his mind is pleasing the people, even though they're in danger. And so he's against the idea of closing the beaches. So, ridiculous. So, yeah. So they have a little thing on the 4th of July. And I think I'm getting that right. There was two scenes where there was beach scenes where a lot of people were at. No, that wasn't the. Okay, I got mixed up. The sheriff was wanting to close the beaches. The mayor was against it. So there was just one scene where everybody was at the beach and having fun and stuff like that. And this little kid sadly gets killed by the shark because he swam out. I think he didn't go too far out, but he went further out than most people. I mean, you could still see him from the beach, but he was still pretty far out there. And anyway, the shark gets him. He was on a raft, and the shark gets him. His mother doesn't even know about it until after the fact, and she didn't even see it happen. And she blames the sheriff for allowing people to go into the water when clearly it wasn't his fault. It was the stupid mayor's fault. But anyway, the mayor is still not convinced after that, and insists on the beaches being open on the 4th of July because that's how that island gets their money. As he puts it, as the mayor puts it, they rely on summer dollars. So, yeah. So so the sheriff comes up with an idea. Okay, well, we'll open the beaches, but we just won't allow anybody in the water. So you got stuff going on the beach instead of to keep people's mind off the water, but clearly people want to go in the water. And so the mayor, in his loveliness, talks this older gentleman to go into the water, and then once people see him do it, then everybody else will follow, and that's what exactly happened. And so what ends up happening is the sheriff has two kids, Michael and Sean. Michael's the older one. He's about 10 years old in this movie, and he asks Michael to swim in the pond area, and where it's safer. Now it's still the ocean, but it's like a pond area. It's not as I don't know how to describe it, but it's still the ocean, but it's just a smaller part of the ocean, kind of blocked off to where, you know, if you don't want to go in the actual ocean, you can go there. But so he agrees to it, and him and his friends go and do that. And meanwhile, Sean, his younger son, he's just building sand castles on the beach. And so anyway, the shark somehow gets into the pond because before that happens, somebody plays a joke. They got the police and all of them have boats out there, keep an eye out for the shark, and helicopters flying all over the place, looking out for it. And these kids play a joke, and they have this little fin that they attach to them, and made people think that it was a shark, and they end up getting caught and all that. And so after that, the actual shark gets into the pond area, and nobody believes the girl that's yelling that the shark's in the pond, and the shark goes after Michael and his friends, but doesn't hurt him, thankfully. But it does put Michael in shock, so they go to the hospital. Long story short, the mayor finally decides to agree to closing the beaches until this is resolved. And so Robert Shaw, his name is Quint, and I'm skipping a lot of stuff because I don't want to give everything away, but his character was introduced earlier in the movie. But him and Richard Dreyfuss's character, I cannot remember Richard Dreyfuss's name in the movie, but he's introduced as well, and he's an archaeologist. Not an archaeologist. That's, you study rocks with that. He studies sharks, basically. I don't know the exact term. It's some kind of name. I don't remember. But anyway, so he's introduced at the around the beginning of the movie, and so him and Brody end up becoming friends and all that. And Quint, he's kind of a jerk. He's kind of hard to get along with. But anyway, all three of them go out on Quint's boat to try to catch the shark, and some crazy stuff goes down there. The shark attacks the boat, and the boat starts sinking, and just a bunch of crazy stuff. But I don't want to tell you everything because I don't want to bore you. But just go see the movie for yourself, and hopefully you like it. Hopefully, if you've seen it, hopefully you liked it. If not, I know there's some people out there who aren't into these kind of movies, and that's okay. I'm just trying to do a review for everybody. There's some people out there who do like these movies, and there's some people out there who don't. And if you don't, that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry. I will definitely do a movie, hopefully, that you will like eventually. And look at that glare. That glare's been there for quite a while. Well, anyway. just have to be there. Anyway, so that was Jaws. And like I said, I'm not going to tell you how the movie ends, just in case you haven't seen it. But definitely a good movie to go see if you like sharks and stuff like that. If you don't like sharks and you're not into sharks, well, you're probably not going to be into this movie. But if you do like them, go check it out if you hadn't already. And that'll pretty much do it. I do like the movie itself was really good. It was kind of long when I first watched it. That's one of the reasons why when I was a kid I couldn't really get into it all that much, because it was so long and slow at times, and I couldn't get into it. But over time, it's a pretty good movie. I've actually got used to the slowness, and it's actually not too bad. But when you're a kid, you don't want to watch some slow movie. But yeah, I like the acting in it is all great. Every person in it's pretty good. They all had great actors. The shark, from what I've heard, people say that the shark looks fake. And, well, I guess they're right. I mean, I guess it does. It's a robot, basically, is what it is. Just a little mechanical thing. And I mean, come on, you can't be perfect. You're not going to get something back in 1975. I mean, come on, you're not going to be able to get an actual replica of a shark. I mean, come on now. But anyway, that's not an issue. But me personally, I thought it looked fine. Come on, don't be so picky. Like I said, the acting was great. The music is fantastic. John Williams does a great job on the music in pretty much every movie he does. I mean, he does great music. And I remember when I was a kid, when my sister had the soundtrack to this movie on a record. And for those of y'all who don't know what records are, well, those are the things that came before CDs and cassette tapes. And I remember listening to that soundtrack and I'd never seen the movie up to that point. But the soundtrack scared me because the music was just so creepy and scary. But anyway, I mean, the movie was pretty good. I mean, like I said, great acting, great music. No complaints, except for the fact, I think if I had one complaint about it, it would be that it was too slow at times. Like at the very beginning and middle, it was just kind of slow. And then once it gets up to close to the end, the last 20 or 30 minutes of the movie is out on the water in the boat. That's the interesting part. But anyway, that was Jaws, and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and please leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And that'll do it for this review. Anyway, everyone, have a great and wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.